Get out of here. We're at my house right now. We're in the office. The old cover archive for 2001. It's the first issue. My friend Tobin Reed did the logo and the layout of the cover, and he was an incredible designer. I think from the first one, I started doing all the covers, but obviously kept his branding. There was a common consensus that there were a ton of photos, but there was not as many places to put them as there were before. It turned out there was a bit of an appetite for it. Like I hit up Adidas and New Balance and Vans, and they were all like, oh yeah, we have a little extra budget. I guess I could try to take a stab at starting a magazine. It kind of came together much more simply than I could ever have imagined until we started actually trying to print the thing. And printing is the difficult part of making a magazine, it turns out. I do like a digital mock-up just to see if it's even worth, I make big prints of it. Actually, I probably have them somewhere. But yeah, I don't know, it's all about being tangible, and I don't want to do like a digital rip like I did with the Grant one. That's what I learned to not do. So now I just do them real, and then these images stay as the ones that you see on the cover, but if it's a portrait or kind of like a little bit more of a focus of the cover, then I superimpose a digital image on top of the actual printed one, so it looks a little bit more sharp. I'm sure somebody could make paper look like this digitally, but I'm not capable, and I don't know, it's nice to have these little artifacts from the issues. A photo of Jake Snelling that Rafsky shot that I printed to bring to Paris, but you'll see that, my printer had a little bit of a rebellion when printing it. But yeah, I mean, it's like these moments that, is the actual trick insane? No, but that's the spirit of skating right there. Getting on a roof in front of what looks like rush hour traffic and getting after it. It's so funny because other than, some of the models of the cars, it's a really timeless photo, but that's yep, that's 2025. Everybody's filming everything on their phone. I worked for Transworld from when I was 19 to 24, 25, and then have worked for Thrasher since then. So skate media obviously has a huge inspiration for me. I think the idea came about maybe just before New Year's of 2020. So then I really started working on it in January of 2021, and the first issue was printed and out in September or October of 2021. There was a situation there where I had a printer dialed, had everything ready to go, and in the 11th hour, they were like, hey, the quote that we gave you for this size magazine was wildly off. We're gonna have to double or triple the price of the printing. I don't have that money, so then I had to scramble to find another printer. 9 months from ideation to reality is not terrible. It felt like a long time. My favorite cover is probably this one, just because it's elegant, beautiful. It relates to a big story that we did in the magazine. I shot it in 2023 in Paris. We were shooting Tom Knox's Dickies campaign, and it was part of that campaign shoot. He was talking a lot about flowers, and he named some of his kids after flowers. Unrelatedly to Tom, been photographing flowers a lot in the studio just because we had flowers at the house. This was an idea that I had that I didn't execute it as well as I had hoped to. The idea is there. I like that he looks normal, but he also has this extremely burning passion and fire inside him for skating. And I wanted to marry those two images together, and I don't think I was that successful doing it there, but you gotta try. Just no skate photos on the cover. You should be drawn into the magazine in a different way than the traditional skate media. This magazine is just as much about who skateboarders are as it is what they can do. Having a crazy trick on the cover of a skate magazine has been tradition since skateboarding and media was born. So I wanted to deviate from that and make a conscious effort to continue to do that. And how I think of the magazine, it's a photo book meets a skate magazine. I do want each issue to feel as timeless as possible. The whole idea of this magazine was born from giving photography what I think is its rightful place. Looking at Time magazine, ID magazine, another magazine, Slam magazine, the basketball magazine. I've looked at David Carson's work for a really long time. He worked for Transworld, and his daughter actually did a layout for us in the most recent issue. It's Lucy Carson, and absolutely not planned for, but it was really exciting. Working with people that are talented and passionate is also really inspiring to me. Anthony Acosta has given me photos for every issue. Alex Papke has, Oliver Barton has, Rafael Wojnowski has given me a ton of work. There's tons of people that I would love to have in here. Daniel Harold Sturt would be sick. I don't know if he's gonna dust his cameras off for this, but it's funny, one of my favorite photographers he's not a skate photographer. His name is Brian Scootmott. He does like incredible portrait and landscape work in the American West, kind of in the footsteps of Richard Avedon and Alex Soth and those guys. I asked him if he would be willing to shoot landscapes of famous skate spots in the way that he photographs landscapes. I think he was into the idea, but he's also just a really busy dude. Hopefully one day we can get that going. Yeah, we did the release party for the 8th issue in Paris during Fashion Week. It felt appropriate just because there's some kind of overlap between fashion and skateboarding in this magazine. And I just knew that a lot of people were going to be out there at the time, so it seemed like a fun excuse to go to Paris. I would say it's like a third film probably, and I mean it really depends on who contributes. Our 2001 budgets don't exist, so shooting features on film is not really possible unless somebody wants to on their own dime. Like these are both C prints that Quentin made. Pretty sure Ben Shadorn shot these 2 on film. Yeah, there's a good amount of film. I think a good photograph is a good photograph. It doesn't matter what it's shot on. I did try a few different options, but this is the one that really spoke to me. Obviously Ben is an incredible skateboarder and he doesn't have anything else in the issue, but it's just like one of those moments where I'm like, I felt like I was in New York out skating with them in that moment. And I looked up and he was looking at me like that. Papke shot this photo of this spray painted cross in Lagos and I felt like his body language was mimicking that a little bit. It's a little bit of a cheeky layout, I realized. There's no like deeper meaning behind it. I thought it looked nice. After we get past that and we're okay with where we've arrived, then and have a conversation with my wife, Erica, who's the editor, take her temperature on things. When she does interviews or does written profiles of people, she brings like a new perspective to things. She's more curious about who they are as people rather than like, oh, you did this trick. Like, will you tell me about the process of trying that? Like, that's not what this magazine's about. The next issue is our 9th, and then after that is, lucky number 10. So it's crazy that it's been 5 years since I started this magazine. So we definitely have to do something special for our 10th issue, but what that is remains to be seen. But I don't know, sometimes I should reflect more on how I've been able to make a print magazine for 5 years in this era where print is, everybody's talking about how it's dead. So I feel pretty lucky to be able to do it. So definitely a huge thank you to the companies and people that support the magazine, and obviously all the contributors. It would be completely impossible without them. So yeah, it really is a labor of love, and like everybody that's involved wants to be here. So it's a pretty special thing to me.